everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk about the books that I had read in January. I read some books on my e-reader, I listened to some audiobooks, and I have some physical copies of the books that I would like to talk about today, so let's get started. First book that I had read in January, and it's also my first book of 2025, was Stress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is my first book by Brandon Sanderson, and actually I hadn't heard of him before because I'm not a fan of fantasy, despite the fact that he's quite famous, I assume. And I've read many good reviews about this book, and I decided why not to try to read fantasy this time. I gave it 4 stars out of 5, basically because it felt for me like a fairy tale, a bit naive and romantic, but that's the beauty of it. And the main character is very inspiring. She's very brave, loyal, dedicated, and persistent. She's really great character to follow. At the beginning of the book, she's just a girl who lives on the remote island in an emerald green ocean and collects cups. She plans to spend all her entire life there. But because of some circumstances, because of love, she decides to live her simple life away. If you like some kind of pirate stories, sea stories, magic stories, you probably would appreciate this. This is really nice, cozy book to read, so I'm glad that I had picked it up for my first book in 2025. The second book that I had read in January was A Welcome Reunion by Lucinda Berry, and it was audiobook actually, and I gave it 5 stars. First of all, I should say that this is part 2 of The Perfect Child of this book. So is the second book and the last one in this 2-book series, if we can call it like that. I had read The Perfect Child last year after I found these recommendations on BookTube. It was December, I was ill, and I was looking for some easy read. I don't know why I chose this one, that's not easy read, but despite this, it's difficult to put this book down, you know. This is a psychological thriller. In the first book, we are following a married couple, Christopher and Hannah, who have been struggling with infertility for years and decided to adopt a child. The child, who one morning had been found on the parking lot covered in blood. So not just usual child. And we keep following all the process of adoption. We see how the main characters try to solve all their problems, overcome all the obstacles, just because they desperately want to have a child. As they say, you should be afraid of your own desires because once they come true. I don't know, I don't want to give away any twists, so just recommend to read it. And what I like about the author, that she pictures psychological portraits for all their characters, gives the psychological explanation of their choices in life, you know, so there is almost no room for doubts why she did this or why he behaved like that. And in January, I listened to the audiobook of the second part of this story, A Welcome Reunion. It's much shorter than the previous one, and I finished it very quickly, I think during half of the day. And I gave it 5 stars as well, simply because I love the ending of this story. And I think if I would be a writer, I would have definitely written some similar ending. Just recommend to read it if you like psychological thrillers. The next book that I've read was The One by John Marrs. Funny that when I started reading it, I realized that I read it a few years ago in Russian, but still I had read it in English because it was our January reading pickup in the book club. This is the book that definitely won't get you bored. It has plenty of turns and twists that it's difficult to put it down. I love the idea of this book, the DNA responsible for finding your perfect match love of your life was discovered. And we follow 5 persons who took mature DNA tests to find their soulmates. It's very compelling read, really explores the ups and downs and dangers. Their quest to true love is not easy for all of the characters, but in different ways. The book has an unforeseen twists and turns at the end, which made it even more interesting. I would recommend to read it because it raises important questions. Do soulmates really exist? Um, is it only one person for the whole life for us? Is our choice fated? So, highly recommended. The next book is my number one in January. Is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I listened to audiobook and highly recommend you to do the same. This book has particular atmosphere which is well presented in the audio. Sadness and emptiness, some horror moments, despair and willing to leave, darkness, storm outside, restless ocean. The main character Emma is house sitting in a remote location on the coast. Basically, she's in isolation with only one neighbor around whom she never met. Emma is seeking for solitude because she has some tragedy in her past. She escapes reality by all means. She immerses herself in reading, and one evening she leaves a negative book review and receives the answer directly from the book's author. Soon after, disturbing incidents starts to occur at night, and Emma begins to wonder if this writer tries to scare her or do even something worse than that. The plot is really original. I have never read anything like this. I love the main character with her wounded heart and dark thoughts and her transformations throughout the book. And this was my first audiobook in English, so I enjoyed it a lot and I gave it 5 stars. Also, because the previous book impressed me so much, I decided to read another book by Taylor Adams, No Exit. Besides, it has even higher rating on Goodreads, but eventually I gave it only 3 out of 5. I really love the premise. The main character is caught in the middle of nowhere because of the snowstorm. She forced to take shelter at the rest stop with 4 other people. Accidentally, she spots a little girl locked in the parked van outside. Sounds thrilling, right? But actually, I didn't like how the author handled the idea. I can't say that it was predictable, no, but there were no shocking twists that I expected. Only 4 suspects, one long night without opportunity to escape, and a kidnapped child. It was thrilling in theory, in practice, it was just okay. At the end of the book, I started to see how the author could make the story even more interesting. So probably this book is just not for me, or maybe I had high expectations because of the previous book. I don't know. And the last book that I've read in January and second 5-star rated book in this video is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Again, I love the premise. Small remote island, guests gather to celebrate the wedding. The groom is a TV star. The bride is a magazine publisher. What could go wrong? Except of the murder. The setting is atmospheric. I love the slow building tension in this book. Secrets of the brides and grooms past, guests that have skeletons in their closets. Small group of people being stuck together with no escape while knowing that a murderer is among them. By the way, the book is written from different perspectives. It always makes book more interesting to my liking. 5 different guests tell us their stories and we can put together the whole picture like the puzzle. Highly recommended for thrillers lovers. That's all for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section and See you later.